Oh, some stuff is just good, and I'd put our Rejoinder music into that category. Hey, Unmasked Marina Franklin tickets are available. That's Tuesday, July 16th, 7 p.m. here at the old SiriusXM Pandora Studios. Go to Bennington Show on Twitter to find the link to request free tickets. And of course, Anthony Jeselnik coming up a little later on in the show.
Yeah, I can't wait. And I'm so excited for Marina because I love her so much. She's so funny and so talented.
Yeah, I love her to death. I'm crazy about her. I wish that she was one of the people who tried to get in with Earl.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I wish she was dating Earl right now.
That would be so great.
Although, we might get a drive-by from Keith Robinson. I don't know why those two didn't stay together. Everybody in comedy wants them to. And then when I see them at the Cellar, they're just teasing and flirting like a rom-com.
Yeah, they love each other.
Well,
they
maybe
always
we'll
will.
get to the bottom of that and Unmasked. You know what I mean? I'll just rip that mask off. What happened? Whose fault was it? Oh, yeah, Keith's. That goes without saying.
That would have been my guess.
I saw Keith not too long ago. Goes like this: "Why ain't I on a goddamn Creeps with Kids?"
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's hilarious. I go, "You should be."
Talk to Bobby Kelly about that.
What's the latest Seinfeld gimmick that's going down? You can go to his house, or what the hell is this whole thing about right now?
Well, they just did, like, last week there was a Mets game where Jerry Seinfeld threw out the first pitch. If you went to the game, you got a Jerry Seinfeld bobblehead. I sat on the couch outside of the stadium, the Seinfeld couch, and if you answered trivia, you got Seinfeld baseball cards.
Yeah, but I don't think that's what I'm talking about. I think they're really like setting up the Seinfeld world where you can go into the apartment.
Oh
and
yeah,
do
they're
that.
touring the living room. I think it started at Clusterfest, and it might be bringing it around the
Why
country
would
now.
and people are lining up, but why would you want to go sit on a fake couch that wasn't even on Seinfeld?
So you could just feel like one of the Seinfeld buddies.
Do you love that show so much that you... Yeah, you know what? You're right. It's a selfie moment. It has nothing to do with the show.
Nope.
It's something to send your friends.
I guarantee even people who are not fans of the show would be like, yeah, I want to take that picture.
Yeah.
So it looks like I'm on Seinfeld and I can put it on my Insta.
Not that there's anything wrong with that. Lane dance is dumb. The show is 30 years old. It's literally 30 years old. It doesn't go away. Is it still the #1 rerun show? Is that...
I still think there are other shows that are creeping up, for sure, that are kind of getting that Seinfeld
You don't
status.
think Friends has passed it?
I think that Friends has got there. You know what I mean? Like, I think that Friends was the second place, and now it might even be eclipsing Seinfeld, where people are like, I know every episode, I make all the references. Oh, you don't know Friends quotes? What are you, a loser?
I hate any BuzzFeed where I'm anybody but a Chandler.
Yeah, because you feel in your heart as a Chandler.
I'm going to tell you something else. BuzzFeed is nuts because they said that I was more of a cheeseburger than a pizza, and I think we all know how ridiculous that is.
That's insane.
I'm straight pizza.
I got pizza.
Yeah, did you?
I did get pizza.
Lucky.
I mean,
I got a hot dog.
that
That's
wasn't
a
even
lie. So
even
I
an
know you're
option.
lying now trying to get in. You know what?
Yeah.
I'm not fucking NBC News. I know when somebody's trolling me.
But mine is, if I'm anything but a Phoebe, now I know the test is bullshit. And you know what? I see that you're giving me Monica all the time, and I'm not a Monica.
You're kind of a Monica,
I don't
dude.
think I
You're kind of the Monica of this show. You're
That's-
certainly not the Phoebe.
Oh my God, I thought I was such a Phoebe.
No, just the opposite. You're a little tightly wound.
Really? That's
Yeah.
how I come off on this show?
Not just on this show, in life. I didn't go by the show at all. Earl, is there a black Seinfeld that black people watch? Because there's no black people on Seinfeld.
Yeah, we're friends pretty much.
Yeah, Friends.
Probably be, was that Living Single which was kind of the precursor to all of these shows. And
Nobody
No.
talks and
Okay.
watches Living
No
Single.
way, man.
Yeah, look at her looking so depressed. Dude, Rhoda came before all that, so stop it.
A black friend of mine in high school told me this.
Yeah.
That Martin was the black Seinfeld.
Dude, now
Martin,
I was
that's
just going to
fair.
pop in and say that because I was like, before that answer, I would definitely have said Martin.
People still say "damn Gina."
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that has to
once
be
a
it.
day I say
Because
yeah.
Gina is so fucking hot.
Hell yeah.
It never really gets talked about enough.
And Shanae? You guys, Shanae.
I'm going to give you one that I think has moved above Friends, and I think it's The Office. I think The Office is watched and rewatched, and there was a time where people were like very anti it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And now they're back to like, oh, it's just genius.
I was anti it, and the original run, I stopped watching it for the third season out of anger. But then, like 5 years ago, I watched the entire series 3 or 4 times in a row, like after my breakup. And I was just
Oh, God.
That's
that sounds
comfort.
so-
That's comfort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
literally for comfort. I
Yeah.
just put it on, like, oh man,
Started crying when
Oh, sure.
they didn't get
Jim
together.
and Pam.
yeah. Then in the second season, crushed me, Rod.
I don't know what that is.
That show's so big with quotes that there's a quote I mentioned to Chris that I liked, and he told me he thinks about the same quote constantly.
Let's hear it.
It's Michael Scott's talking about he's writing a book on management, and he says, "All I have is the title, and it's called Somehow I Manage, and it's me on the cover with my sleeves rolled up going
And
like this."
I think about it all the time. I don't know why. I just think it's very funny.
I read a thing not too long ago that it's the #1 memes, and they're making tons of money. I don't know how you make money off a meme.
I was just going to say the reason I think that that's true is because of the GIFs. Like if I search any GIF,
Jeff.
whatever, if I search it, then 90% of the time there's at least a couple office things. Like if you're like happy or sad or like whatever.
You know, it's
always-
mine, right? They're always living single. You know, that was the precursor to everything. Well, I'm going to say this. People, you guys are probably too young to remember, but there was a time that Cheers was on constantly. And before that, MASH was on constantly.
Yeah.
I remember the Cheers days. I remember the MASH days. I remember Taxi also was on constantly. It was like the 11 to 12 o'clock, like 2 episodes.
I still love a taxi, man.
And I watched a shitload of Taxi and MASH and Cheers.
Well, Vito did a full binge of Cheers
I
not
did.
too long ago, and it made me want to do the same. It seemed so
It's a
enjoyable.
big commitment. It's 10 seasons, and then you got 10 more seasons of Frasier after that. So you got to get ready.
You know what I'm doing now, and I never watched one episode when it was on. I'm Netflixing it for comfort. I broke up with Chris's girlfriend, so
What?
I don't have to tell you, Chris. That ain't easy. I've been watching Boston Legal.
That's
Yeah.
not what I thought you were going to say. I thought you were
Spader
gonna say-
is fucking great in everything that he's ever done.
Wow.
And any scene without Spader is tough. But the amount of fucking great character actors who are on this show every week, guesting, being on the show. The mom from Modern Family is on there.
I had no idea that this. I mean, I knew people talked about it.
I never heard anybody talk about it. I went through a thing where I was watching Spader movies, and then that came up. You may also like. I'm like, fuck, I'll give it one episode, and I'm just like, anytime Spader, he's fucking so great in everything.
I totally forgot about Boston Legal.
It's the white living single.
Okay. Now I understand. Here's a show I thought that would have been the next Seinfeld, but like fizzled out as soon as the series was over, was How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah, me too.
Because that
call.
was so fucking talked about all the fucking
Because
time.
the end, but everybody was pissed about the end because if you watch the show, they lied. They literally lied to you, and they said,
But it isn't because of the end. It's because the people who didn't see it don't want to Boston Legal that shit.
Right.
You know what I
want
mean?
nothing to do with that.
I mean, Seinfeld couldn't have had a worse ending.
Yeah.
Fucking people rioted.
Even worse last season. It was all those episodes.
Oh,
were
when
pretty
Larry left, it was fucking dreadful.
Well, this is what I'm going to say. Maybe here's one that could be like a dark horse that I think
Okay.
could be it. Is It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I feel like has the quantity of episodes, has the beloved thing. I feel like people would go back. I rewatched like a really old episode and
Yeah.
was like, shit, I need to watch this show.
I think it's incredibly funny but it is never and will never be a mainstream show. These are, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Too horrible.
I see what
These
you mean.
are people you don't want to allow in your house. Now, one that they look like they were trying to push hard, and I see it just getting smaller and smaller, is 2.5 Men. And my theory there is you don't want a kid growing up in the show.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the Seinfeld, it doesn't matter if you're watching the second season,
Yeah.
the 8th season, same as Parks and Rec. But when you see that kid get bigger and gangly, you can't have the comfort feeling.
Like Elaine Bennis's style shifts slightly. Her hair gets a little
Yeah.
bit less big, and that's about the end of it. I mean, pretty much everyone else is the
She's
same.
so stunning.
She's awesome.
She's so crazy stunning.
I love her forever.
Yeah, and you know what? She's a one-man gal. A one-man gal.
Is she?
I only known the entire life. She dated and then married the same guy.
Really?
And she started out on SNL in the early 80s. The guy was on SNL. They came from Chicago together. You know what I mean? They were in a troupe together. And as far as I know, that's it. And I wanted to see her with Putty. I'm going to be totally honest. If her and Putty were together today, I'd be ecstatic.
That's what should have happened.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if you went back. I think at one point the Dick Van Dyke Show was one of those shows for people that when it went off the air, people kept it going for another 10 years. Same of Mary Tyler Moore. You know what I mean? Mary Tyler Moore, people loved for years.
Seems like Happy Days was on TV through my most
Happy
of my
Days,
life.
yeah, crazy popular to a lesser extent, but still pretty big. Laverne and Shirley.
Yeah.
You know? Now, what surprises me is every generation had even though you didn't catch it, you were a little kid, you watched the Brady Bunch, you watched the Partridge Family, you watched the Wonder Years. Do kids have anything like that today?
Well, you know what? The thing about Brady Bunch, too, is that is one that I know was probably like that because people will say, this is like the Brady Bunch episode where? And that's when you get the Seinfeld status, right? Like there's enough quantity of episodes and they go through enough life events.
Here's the thing, a Brady Bunch was only on like 2-3 years.
What?
Yeah, it wasn't on that long.
I think it was 4 seasons. It's bizarre because it's like this cultural phenomenon. But like then they had like a
shocked by
cartoon.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And they came back as variety shows and stuff like that. They, I mean, the same thing with Living Single.
I mean, I guess that makes sense because I don't remember the kids getting like too weird looking.
Well,
you know what I mean? They didn't get too gangly. The
this-
little ones started to be like teenagers, and that was weird.
Well, the problem was they didn't let the little ones grow up either. Like, if you looked at it, Cindy was still wearing fucking ribbons in her hair.
Right.
When whatever her name was, Maureen, whatever fucking name, they would have been dating. They would have been dating at that point.
Exactly.
Here's a show that it's like that. Gilmore Girls is like that. People fucking love that
So-
show.
That is true, actually.
When I went
Never saw
to
it.
when I went on the Warner Brothers studio tour, there were 2 big parts of the tour. One was visiting Stars Hollow, the place where they filmed most of Gilmore Girls, and the other was the Friends couch. Those are the big draws of the tour that they kept bringing up.
That's weird because we were there 17 years ago when those shows were running. And those things were there.
Yeah.
Like you could go in. We went on the Gilmore Girls set, which
Yeah.
is disgusting because it's just huge lights over top of it.
Really?
Yeah, and you're just like, the Gilmore Girls could have been killed at any moment.
Yeah, that's what I just kept thinking. That little precocious one could have been crushed.
yeah, that house
I don't
is
think
still
I've
there.
ever watched the Gilmore Girls.
I've never watched it, and I had friends who were obsessed with it.
Phoebe?
And I would just be like, I would duck out for that.
I just thought of another one that ran for years and people loved it. Bewitched. Bewitched ran in fucking reruns crazy.
I have a question for you,
Yeah.
and I just remembered I was pondering this the other day
You two
and
Darrens?
decided not to Google. What came first, Bewitched or I Dream of Jeannie?
They were about the same time.
But
One
like,
of them, but they used to do that kind of stuff all the time, where
Yeah.
they would just. I'm gonna guess Bewitched came first because I can't think of any black and white I Dream of Genies. I Dream of Jeannie was really.
I thought they were had both. They both had black and white episodes, but maybe not. Now I think of it, I'm always thinking of Her in the Pink.
So I Dream of Jeannie was 1967.
Yeah.
Bewitched was 1964.
Okay.
So that's 3
yeah.
fucking years. I mean, that's huge. That's
Yeah.
a huge jump. And I'm gonna be honest. I Dream of Jeannie is shit.
Yeah, I agree.
It's fucking terrible.
I
And
love
I'll knock that fucker out. You fucking are keeping a white slave.
It was very
That's
confusing.
it.
man.
I mean, everyone knows that Darren's a dick, but that fucking Major fucking Nelson is a jerk off,
Yeah, he
man.
sucks. I really didn't like. If I had to pick between the show, Bewitched far and above.
Yeah.
Much better.
Oh, by the way, none of the men would ever have gotten those 2 women. Those
Oh.
2 fucking women were unbelievably hot. And then I Dream of Jeannie wasn't allowed to show her belly button. That was the big thing. She wore her pants up above
yeah.
her belly button, so the fucking middle of the country wouldn't think that it was a vagina.
A modern one that's getting like play is Parks and Rec is all over E, and it's on Netflix.
I watch it, but it was never a big hit,
Yeah.
and it's not a giant hit there. You can see the same for 30 Rock. It's
Yeah.
around,
Yeah.
but it doesn't have that cultural impact. I just thought of one that maybe is bigger than everything that we've ever talked about. It was in black and white. It ran forever. Honeymooners.
yeah.
People
yeah.
obsessed with Honeymooners.
Yeah.
I must have seen every episode multiple times.
Yeah, there's not that many episodes either.
Yeah, it's like I think it was 2 seasons.
and then they do
39 or something like that.
they'll like re-air like the Jackie Gleason like live episodes they did once a year.
Uncomfortable. Just really uncomfortable. You have to go back to the actual thing. Like if they just started showing like a one camera Seinfeld, I think we'd all fucking melt down.
There's 1 season, 39 episodes of The Honeymooners.
But and that's like I mean the big your New Year's tradition is either you watch Twilight Zone or you watch
I
Honeymooners.
don't do either one of those. You know what I do? I watch the fucking Mummers Parade in Philadelphia. I think that Twilight Zone might be the most overrated fucking show in the history of overrated shows.
I mean, they're pretty silly. I mean, I know that when I caught them when I was a kid, they fucked with me bad.
yeah, but so did Josie and the Pussycats.
Yeah. You're like a Scooby-Doo episode to
Yeah.
give you nightmares as a kid. But yeah, when you watch them as an adult,
They're clownish.
they're very silly.
They're totally
They're
ridiculous.
a fucking clown show.
The pig masks. It's not even. It's
What
But-
world would have pig monsters?
The only thing I like is the smoking.
Dude, there was one that I watched with you when I was a little kid, and it was the one about the shadow man, and he comes from underneath the kid's bed every night and does, I don't know, evil things and kills people. But he says, he basically says, as long as I can live under your bed, I'll never harm you. But he's still terrified of this guy. And then later in the episode, the Shadow Man is coming and everyone runs. And he's like, I'm not afraid. Shadow Man lives under my bed. And then the Shadow Man gets him. And he's like, I thought you weren't going to get me. And he's like, I'm a Shadow Man from someone else's bed. And like, now,
fuck, the
it's not that
twist.
scary. But when I was a kid, I was that
They
fucked
should,
with
but
me bad.
this is what's wrong about that. They should have called it the Shadow Men.
You should have been more specific.
I got to tell you, so the visit to the Seinfeld apartment experience, Dan Perlman has already visited,
Oh.
as well as Anthony and brother Joe. So
Nice.
it is out there. It had nothing to do with anything. Everybody celebrated the fact that Seinfeld threw from the mound and threw a strike. Mm-hmm. Matter of fact, when has Met Stadium been fucking packed like it was for that?
Yeah, it was the amount of people who showed up for that bobblehead and to just see Seinfeld shit played all night was bizarre. I've been.
I mean, there's been empty seats there all
I've
fucking
been
year.
to 15 games all season. Most of them have been dead empty. I got there early, and there was a line outside the stadium an hour before the game.
So you got a bobblehead?
I got a bobblehead. I got a picture on the couch, and I watched Jerry Seinfeld throw out the pitch.
When
Did
are
it
they
look
gonna?
good?
Yeah, he looked fantastic. He threw sidearm, which I don't know where the whole Kent DeCovey thing came from. But yeah, I mean that's way
yeah,
better
that's
than
great.
most celebs throw the ball. Look at him; he's just enjoying life. Jerry just has fucking fun with it. He says the most obnoxious things to people. And they let it roll off their back. There, he's just beloved. He's just beloved.
I mean, he was forgiven so quickly for that Kesha incident.
Yeah, and now here he is turning Mark Norman into a fucking household name. People are going, "Where's the Mark Norman show?" You know, there's people at networks going
sure.
this. Jerry's picked someone as his heir apparent.
Get me, Norman.
Norman, crazy.
They also had the actor who played the soup Nazi come out and give somebody a prize.
Soup.
Was
No,
soup?
it wasn't soup. It was.
Was he dressed as the soup?
He was dressed as the soup Nazi, and he gave him a cup.
Why didn't you all start chanting "No soup for you" like they do at basketball games? And somebody, this is. But I feel like you've been out of this, Earl, since your faux pas. I feel bad.
It wasn't a faux pas. I didn't think it was a faux pas. I made Queen Latifah a household name.
I mean, why didn't you say?
year is this,
But why didn't you
2004?
say Cosby?
Music.
If you would have said Cosby,
If you would have said Cosby, you would have been the smartest fucking guy in fucking Bumtown.
What? Also, Sanford and Son was big in syndication.
Yeah, so why are you protecting this fucking Queen Latifah
No,
myth?
well-
It was her music that fucking made her a household
Was it
name.
on UPN?
That was on. I think it started on NBC. No, it started on Fox. I'm sorry. It was part of the.
Don't be sorry, Earl. Why did you leave Cosby out of it? Because of the rapes?
He's still a sore spot with me. Very much a sore spot.
Now, how do you think the Jews are feeling about Jeffrey Epstein right now? You know? I mean, that's got to be tough for them. Because when I see anybody reading it, I'll be like, typical Jew, right? And they go, what do you mean? I go, oh, I didn't know. I thought we were going in that direction like we did with Cosby. Cosby was... I don't think Cosby's reruns played as big as his first runs, though. Like, I think people were already sick of Cosby by the time that show ended. They're like, we
Yeah.
don't want any more Cosby.
When I was a kid, they didn't play Cosby Show reruns. They played Cosby reruns, and kids say the darndest things. I never saw reruns of Cosby Show.
That's because of the rapes?
No, this was before the. I mean,
I
Wait,
prefer
what's-
I Spy to everything.
Wait, what's the difference of Cosby and Cosby?
Cosby
Show?
was his later show, and I like it's a different
Is it the same
character.
fam?
No, it's
No,
different.
it's where he plays a fucking limo driver or something.
Oh, okay, got it. Yeah.
No one watched it. It
No.
was a gigantic... Because people were sick of him.
No, and I think it ran for like, what, 4 or 5 years?
Yeah, but who
too.
watched it?
Living Single ran for like 7.
Holy shit! Earl. Wow, you can't fucking buy it. You know what? Your dates are going so good, but look at your business
my
life.
point that the show was a hit.
No,
No,
I'm
no.
just
You don't
saying-
have to be a hit. You can run for fucking 9 years and nobody gives a shit.
Yeah.
There's shows like that.
Yeah.
That were just on. And I'm gonna give you one
Bones?
that. Yes, Bones, Angel, you fucking
What,
name
Castle?
Weeds?
Castle.
Suits.
it. But here's
I don't know fans of any of the shows. We
now
said.
I can't even remember the name of this show, but Helen Hunt was in it. It was running the same time as Cosby.
Man About You.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That show just
Yeah.
fizzled. And it ran like fucking Earl saying it had enough to get in the reruns and nobody gave a fuck.
I just remember another one like that. Just Shoot Me. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Well, that was all part
Great
of the
show.
Thursday night
Yeah, it was, yeah.
gimmick.
Yeah.
That was David Spade, right?
Yeah. I think
Yeah,
it was in
David
it, yeah.
Spade.
Was doing his receptionist character for a year. There was one that had Leah Thompson in it too.
Caroline in the City.
Caroline in the
Oh, yeah, I
City.
forgot about that
Yeah,
show.
Caroline in the City.
Dharma and Greg ran for years, and I never saw a single. Actually, I saw an episode thinking
did.
it was a spin-off of Friends.
I will say this: Dharma is so fucking gorgeous.
Yeah.
and like remember she came in here
Yeah,
one time,
yeah.
and we were all just like, "Ka, pa, ka, pa, ka." She's
like-
the hottest Scientologist ever.
Dharma and Greg is another Bewitched I Dream a Genie situation. Like,
Oh yeah.
he didn't deserve her.
First of all, no one. I can't even picture him in my mind.
Because he's just a Greg.
I know.
I
Fuck
keep-
Greg, but I got a Dharma tattoo on my shoulder.
I keep thinking he's Will from Will and Grace.
Yeah, that's weird.
No, that guy's very attractive.
Yeah, Greg looks like a piece of shit.
Yeah, Greg is nothing.
He's a low-rent American
And
psycho.
look at her; she's
She's a
unbelievably
doll.
cute. By the way, she's like 6 feet fucking tall.
Yeah, she's really tall.
Yeah.
We were stunned when she came in.
So then
we were
how
like,
tall is
what
Greg?
the? Greg played with the San Francisco Warriors before they went Golden State. Now, go to the one that he brought up, the fucking Will and Grace.
I've seen every episode of Will and Grace.
Oh, I've never seen one. That's a fucking good looking man, or is that
Yeah.
just a girl
Yeah.
face?
He looks good.
I never saw one episode of Will and Grace. And then this woman, I don't know her name.
Megan Mullally.
Why isn't she in the title? She's fucking
know.
great.
She was the best
Everyone-
part of the show.
Well, the two characters who aren't in the title are the two beloved
Oh, yeah,
characters.
you're right,
The
you're right.
flamboyant gay guy and her, and they're not in the title.
She was on a show, a little tiny show about fucking actors who weren't working and they went and
Party
served
Down?
Yeah.
Party Down. So she replaced.
So good.
She was so fucking funny. And then I said to somebody, I go, you gotta watch this show because this fucking chick's amazing. And they're like, she's the biggest fucking star in the last 10
Yeah.
years. You
But
just
she has
go
a
out at
different
night.
voice, right? Like she had like the voice of the character.
Yeah, she was like,
Yeah.
But she would like talk really high, like this, and
Yeah.
like that.
Well, that's
but
pretty
then like
good.
it's like
That's a pretty good impression. No, I think that is her voice. And she's married to
Nick Offerman.
Yeah.
yeah,
Nick Offerman, yeah.
the mustache.
She would always show up on Parks and Rec as his Tammy 2, his crazy ex-wife.
His ex-wife. Yeah.
He had trouble with his exes.
See, both of them could have been the new Seinfeld. with
Hold
their
on,
own
I got
shows.
one that would have been the new Seinfeld, but a lead character was murdered, and that's that fucking news show that was like about. It was like 10-10 wins, and it was something news radio news.
NewsRadio.
News
Radio.
Radio.
Who
Yeah.
was murdered from News Radio?
Phil Hartman.
Oh, yeah, I
He was the
forgot he
star.
was in
Yeah,
that.
and they were done when he was murdered. They
Oh,
tried it the next
yeah.
year with the liar
That
guy.
show was great.
Yeah, the girl on that show I've always fucking loved. And then and she's had a very, very strong career.
Yeah.
Maura Tierney.
Yeah, Maura Tierney.
Oh, yeah.
That was the beginning of Joe Rogan's
Rogan
Yeah,
was
career.
he was the janitor of the
And
and
he
station.
Dave
Dick.
Foley was the fucking guy. But this is the weird thing, and Earl backed me up on this. 10-10 wins or whatever the fucking thing was upstairs from us at NEW.
Yeah.
They modeled it. They went in and modeled and shot and modeled it on there so you could go upstairs and feel like you were in news radio.
Dude, I loved that show.
Yeah, Andy Dick, it introduced. Vicki Lewis was really fucking big deal.
I think Stephen Root owned the station.
Stephen Root was
Yeah,
so
he was really
fucking funny on that
He's-
show.
He's fantastic.
And the weird thing about it is Dave Foley was the way he acted on the show is the way Jeremy Coleman used to act at NEW. He was the nice, sane guy who wasn't firing people that he should have. So it was like weird when I came to New York. I felt like I was in news radio.
Dude, I want to rewatch the show. Where can you watch News Radio?
I don't know. It should be on Netflix.
It should be.
I think it's too sad to see Hartman.
Yeah.
And everybody was weirded out. They're like, what are you doing, man? You could be a movie star. Why are you being in this ensemble thing? He goes, I just want a fucking steady gig. You know?
Yeah.
I don't care about you and your dumb movie star. He just didn't. He
Yeah.
just thought, what's wrong with being fucking on a TV show?
Right.
You know? And it was because everybody back then, I mean, you don't now, but everybody back then picked movies.
Right.
Now fucking movie stars will do a Netflix show like there's fucking no difference.
Yeah, like the difference between that is doing people do TV and commercials, and both of those things were like, oh boy,
And these-
for a movie star to do that.
And Netflix and Prime shows, they're never gigantic. I mean, what do you got? You got the fucking Stranger Things.
Yeah.
yeah.
You got the We're Having Babies for Somebody Else show that everybody loved the
Oh,
first season.
Handsmaid's Tale.
I mean, you know how
Handmaid's
rare it is
Tale.
to hit on one of those shows?
No, even like most of them are just like at Ozarks. People talked about the first season, but not like a ton of people talked about Ozarks in the first season. And no
But
one
I'm
talked
talking
about
about
the second.
comedies. I'm talking about like the whole sitcom-y type. Yeah, Ozark to me was big.
Yeah.
That was a big show.
And it's
but,
good.
But what do they do? 2 seasons and that's
Two
it?
seasons so far. I don't know if they're doing the third.
It's good, but it's insane. Like, you
Yeah.
don't have that many murders. You just, you can't have that many. I mean, you got to think about a Boston Legal where you're like, how are they in another trial every week? The three main characters are in three different trials that are running, and they get together at the end of the night and have a cigar. And how'd your trial go? You're like, really? Most people are in like a couple big trials their entire career.
I mean, I always thought that about Law and Order SVU is like at that juncture with like a horrific situation
Sex
every
crime. It's
episode.
a sex
I was
crime
like,
every
there's
episode.
like a real problem happening in New York City.
It's mostly serial rapists and murderers running around.
Everywhere, and murderers and rapists of children.
Just nonstop.
You know, in law shows, they do this thing that really bothers me. They always come in with a manila envelope, and then they hand it over, and they say, I solved the case. And the person takes one look at the sheet of paper, and they're like, how'd you figure this out? And I don't understand if they're looking at a paper that just sums up the whole law thing in this universe.
But why wouldn't they sum up the order as well? Good news, Vito. Deborah from the Interrobang just said that she's going to give you her Thanks for Nothing Seinfeld box. That's got all the little different Seinfeld tchotchkes in it. Wait a minute, I just noted a lot of his snacks.
What snacks?
You do? I thought that you don't eat food anymore.
No, I eat like a little ferret throughout the day.
Like a little.
Ah.
Every meal to him is a moose bush.
Oh, nice. I like that.
Not enough.
And I might be able to get something for you from Bro Watch. I think, is that the name of your show?
Bro Watch, yeah, Bro Watch,
eat
yeah.
any Bro Watch stuff.
Every Monday, 20 minutes, tight, Ron. All right, it's available on iTunes, Google Play.
I noticed you
interrobang.com.
really keep hitting the runtime of this.
Well, I want to let people know they're not getting into a long, involved thing. Look, you got 20 minutes. Everybody's got 20
Generation
minutes.
Z.
Thank you, yeah. Like, go
Yeah.
on your commute, listen to Bro
The
Watch.
show's fucking crushing.
Yeah.
Now, when is your show going to start, Vito?
It's been on. We've had a few episodes. New episode out today.
How long is it?
It's about 40 minutes to 40.
Oh, my God.
Oh, I feel claustrophobic.
No.
Do you have segments like Dropping the Hammer and Dirty Laundry?
Could you
on
get
your
it down
show?
to 15? Because
I
it
don't-
seems like this is the way things are going.
What's dropping the hammer all about?
See, dropping the hammer is like one
Sexual?
person one person in the house deserves to get the hammer dropped on them. Last week was Jack, and I fucking took him to task for
Yeah.
being a misogynist and a racist.
But you are too.
I don't know what you're talking about when you say that.
Your show is just exposing people having sex from the Big Brother not
Wow,
suitable
really? That sounds great.
There's a lot of sex and dirty laundry this past week.
Do you, is there any Big Brother nudes up yet?
There's a lot of crotch shots. Like there's been 4 vagina shots. There's been some side dick.
And you put that out on your thing?
Side
I
dick,
talk
huh?
about it. Yes,
Yeah.
I tell them where to find it. I go to
What
ours.
is, was just curious, side dick?
Yeah, so-
isn't that like the preferred angle for dick?
No, we'll
I
see.
mean-
Look, there was an inadvertent dick flash by Jack.
Side or frontal?
It was side. It was some side dick.
Yeah.
And see, because there's a subreddit I get all my news from called r/Big Brother Bros, which just like concentrates on the dudes in the house. And
Did you
I found
make it?
No, I didn't make it. All right,
You should
and
team up with them and make them your main sponsor.
I would be
Why are
happy
you
with
so
that.
fucking homophobic?
Yeah.
No, I'm not
Yeah.
homophobic. I think he
look,
just has a thing.
I
Well,
also-
side dick is fine.
It's not even side dick. It's just
people want to know.
It's not side dick. Side boob is like it's literally coming out. You're just seeing a dick from the side.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
agree with Vito. This
Yeah.
is confusing to
It's
me.
side-
Pretty
some-
good.
Sure,
some
side dick,
side dick.
is just dick.
Pretty
Side-
good if you catch a glance.
Oh, also talked about Jackson, Maine, jacking off in the bathroom.
He did.
Yeah, he propped up towels to like block as much as he could, and
Does
was
he
jerking
tell
off.
everybody I'm going to be jerking off?
No, I think he was.
Because remember
he's on
that
the low.
beast years ago used to
He-
crawl in a box?
Yeah, the Jack Shack.
He went in
Yeah.
like in a toy box
Yeah,
or
what was
something.
his fucking-
I think it
Why
was
was
Jeff. I think it was Gary. I don't
No,
know.
it's not. It's not either one of those names.
I think it was Evil Dick.
I
No,
know,
it wasn't. It wasn't. It was Howie. It was Howie the weatherman.
It was
Now,
Howie.
here's the thing about Howie, though. I mean, those are facts. What we're here, we're getting
Yeah.
that. You know what I mean?
Who cares what the
Stat
name of the guy?
nerd.
Yeah,
Stat
exactly.
nerd.
Yeah,
I'm
he's
giving
bringing sabermetrics to
Yeah,
fucking Big Brother.
Moneyball.
Yeah,
Ooh.
this is so fucking fun. You know what? I'm giving you fucking what do you want to know? Who's fucking who? Who's sucking who? And who's getting the hammer?
Wow.
And also what's going on outside the house?
and
What's
side dick.
going on?
That one is a little
What's
strict,
going on?
really weird, but
Yeah. Well, you know, that's how I found out that the women's soccer team won the.
See?
Yeah, they
Informative.
won it all. We need to take a break here,
Yes,
right,
we do.
Christopher?
Yes, we have to take a break. Yes.
All right, right back, Bennington.